What do they say about first mover advantage? If you're first to the scene, you get to control the rules. Well, the Prius was the first one to the scene, well, many years ago. So Kia decided if Prius is going to change to a new vehicle in December, perhaps we should come out with one before them. Okay, so this is a case where I don't really need to tell you what this is because it's been around for a while, a Kia Niro. This, however, has been built on a totally new platform. Some things that really don't change is the sizing. This is a small but tall crossover in terms of wheelbase. Think about this as like the exact same wheelbase as a Honda Civic, so that gives you an idea of the overall size of the vehicle. Then there's the propulsion system. And here's why it's more akin to a Prius. It is something that is on offer, at least the basic model, as a hybrid. There's a plug-in hybrid and a full EV. We will drive those in subsequent episodes. Instead, today, we're going to focus on this, a 1.6 four-cylinder engine. No, it's not turbocharged. 139 horsepower and 195 pounds of torque. Now that sounds like a lot of torque, and the reason why there is so much torque is there's a 32 kilowatt electric motor attached to this. So this is a vehicle that is not plug-in. So yeah, it's a parallel hybrid, but it doesn't have like a distinct EV mode. Now what that does return is ridiculous fuel economy. So here, the overall combined fuel economy, 53 mpg. Okay, so yes, you and I have been driving a lot of EVs as of late, but this, it's only electrified, which means it ain't heavy. 3,316 pounds, or depending on express your weights and measures, 1,513 kilograms with that. Oh yeah, that takes some time to go. Yeah, very buzzy engine there. But can I say, there is a real transmission as it begins to rain here outside of San Diego. It has not been predicted to rain at all for the next week, yet you and I get a rain shower. Anyway, we have a real transmission here which changes the way this thing delivers power. It feels better. It feels like a real car. Yeah, there are paddle shifts here, but for the life of me, I cannot get them to work. It just denies shifts all the time. My guess is maybe it's for around town, but I have not found the use case. Either way, it's decent power. Passing power really ain't there. This is not the fast one in the range. That's what the plug-in hybrid as well as the EV is for. Then there's the driving dynamics. And here, there's a couple of things going on. The hardware, it ain't bad. So you got McPherson struts in the front, and no surprise, surprise. In the back, it's a multi-link unit. And there's not a huge amount of composure here. This is really an economy car with two propulsion systems that's focused on efficiency. So the ride quality, it's decent. As you can see, this is not exactly the straightest road out there, which is not the ideal use case for a Niro. This is more about coddling passengers, not in the Cadillac kind of way, just not disturbing them when one drives aggressively, more in town than on roads like this. As for everything else, it's kind of like the Goldilocks. No, not that it's just right. Rather, it's the middle of the road in the hybrid world, and that's a huge function of the weight. The fact that it's not heavy means the ride quality is decent, but then there's a certain point at which suspension says you've gone too far, and then it kind of rolls onto itself. Yes, it is indeed that time again to play your favorite game of mine, the options game, with today's contestant, a brand new fancy version of Kia's Niro for 2023. This has a base price of $26,490. However, the car you are looking at is not the basic car. There are 3 different trim levels on offer. There is the basic LX, there is an EX for $29,090, and then there is this, the SX for $32,490. Now, one of the big differences here are the wheels. They change in size. The basic one, the cheap seats, has 16-inch wheels. This has 18-inch wheels. There's some other things that go along with that. However, we do have to add some things here. This car has a touring package, which adds a sunroof. We like a sunroof. Now, if you are looking at this specific vehicle and thinking, wow, Audi R8, You would be correct. Now that technically is a function of the touring package, which is $1,300. However, to add the black blades, or really make this thing two-tone, one has to add an additional $195. Then we're not done. If one wants floor mats in a $32,000 car, they have to pay an extra $155. Then, of course, the destination and handling from Korea, that's where all of them are made, $1,295, which brings us to a total retail price for a hybrid, $36,435. Okay, so when you and I first saw this thing back in May in Detroit, we did discuss the design, specifically the exterior. Now let's focus a bit more on the interior now that we're seeing a production unit. And here, the overall design, I have to say, they've taken the Niro and moved it up to a better level. Now, what do I mean by that? Here, we need to separate out the overall design from the tactile feel. You look at it, it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. What they've done is these different shapes that work in conjunction with each other. They've got this flowing screen, which gives it the concept of what you see on like a Mercedes EQS, but smaller. Then it works in conjunction with this concave dashboard design. The only thing I'm going to complain about is the UX design here, and that it's got the same thing we've seen in pretty much every Kia, where they've done some haptic feedback. And here, I would say that's a detraction because Hyundai Kia Group has been very good about having hard buttons to control HVAC, all that kind of stuff. They still have some of it down here for the heated and cooled seats, all that kind of thing, as well as a very fancy cup holder. But this, you have to take your eyes off the road and go here to adjust the fan, which is a problem when I'm going around corners here. This, I do not think is a very smart design. Better with more knobs, maybe 3 here, so we can control very high function items like the fan, the temperature, and perhaps the volume. Now, over the past 10 years, I've gone on and on and on about Hyundai Kia really being a steel company masquerading as a car company. Well, here's a unique use of high-strength steel. The structure of the seat, the actual frame, that's made of high-strength steel, which is lighter than other types of steel, and that probably has something to do with the lower weight of this, a car with 2 propulsion systems. Okay, so what have we learned today? Well, it's not really unlike the Kia Niro that we have driven before, which we have liked. This is still a very good vehicle to drive. It is not great, and that's where we get to the wish list. At $26,400, I am all about it. However, at $36,000, that is just a bridge too far. So my suggestion is this. Is there a way to decontent this to get it to like the mid to high 20s with a sunroof, but take some of the other fancy stuff out of it? Like, do I really need heated and cooled seats and something that's supposed to be not so fancy? Maybe there's a way to make this more efficient in dollars and not just in fuel efficiency, and still do it with a sunroof and perhaps the two-tone paint, because it's kind of cool the way they've done this design ethos with the cityscape paint. Anyway, I am just one man, and this is where I turn the episode around to you to opine in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV on Word, MotoManTV on Word, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, I do want to leave you with a little bit behind the scenes. This is an instance where we are literally the last to shoot this car. We were in the last wave of this drive here in stunning San Diego, and the folks are ready to take this and put it on the transporter to send it back to Kia headquarters, North America. Until I see you in the next episode, bis später.